10:15 p.m, June 28th, 2013. The Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury. The crowd cheers, the atmosphere builds, the soon-to-be iconic album cover for their not-yet-released record AM flashes upon the screens at Glastonbury, illuminating the park, until the infamous drum intro begins. Turner's riff echoes throughout the festival, while his crooning vocals weave throughout. The single from their forthcoming record was released not even 10 days prior, and the opening riff at Glastonbury was only their 15th live performance of the tune. Helders and O'Malley, affectionately known as the Space Choir Boys, let their falsettos ring out. The band gives the audience less than a moment's notice until they launch into Brainstorm. Make no mistake, though the boys adorned in leather jackets and proto-American accents to suit, they are still The boys caught a lot of flack 2013 and onwards for losing touch with their British roots, but they're still as beloved with the 23,000 fans in attendance as ever. Turner, as usual, resorts to quipping with the audience, as his signature British sarcasm is still ingrained in him.
That's what I thought. You feeling that party and you're in a party mood, everybody? For Friday night. Do you feel it all like you want to maybe get on your dancing shoes? There's one thing on your mind. Hoping they're looking for you. Shy, I'll be rummaging through.
He proves just how capable he is as a guitarist as he is a lyricist and frontman. He continues playing the riff for Don't Sit Down Cause I Moved Your Chair, while somehow being able to sing the lyrics simultaneously. The audience are feeding off Alex's energy, and it's clear to see that the songs the boys wrote when they were teenagers are still as relatable, if not more, all these years later. The band transitions from Teddy Picker to Crying Lightning, as they still continue to do so over 10 years later. The frontman finally decides to introduce the drummer, Matt Helders.
As I mentioned before, folks, we are the Arctic Monkeys. His name is Matthew J. Elders III.
One of the more universally disliked songs by the band is still as infectious as it is hated by fans. Turner soaks in the glory of being one of, if not the biggest rock band of the 2010s. Helders starts the iconic drum intro to Fake Tales of San Francisco, a song strongly influenced by the early days of the band, as a local band playing bars in Sheffield. The band plays the signature climax to the song that countless bands throughout the 2000s would try to replicate the sheer feeling of. The band have just finished with 8 incredibly fast-paced, high-energy signature monkey tunes. The band slows it down, if you can call it that, to 119 BPM with one of Alex's most famous love songs, She's Thunderstorms. The song was influenced by his relationship with Alexa Chung and proves how well of a lyricist Turner really is. In signature Monkees fashion, the crowd joins in, singing along to Jamie Cook's riff for Old Yellow Bricks, which is a trend that started with the band's formation and would continue throughout the rest of their career. Before Turner even introduces either of his fellow guitarists, Nick O'Malley or Jamie Cook, he decides to introduce Tom Rowley,
To the White Ranger over there in the corner, his name's Mr. Tom Rowley.
as Alex decides he wants
Play some of that humbug music. I want to play some of that full moon music, everybody.
early 20s Alex slips out with his iconic rapping in Pretty Visitors
And the bicycle wheels all straight on, move round in your brain mind. Later in Cape Town, I'm willing to wine. I'm go up at time, so he sits on the springs till the moon goes dry.
and goes full villain mode. Exactly halfway through the concert, the most iconic moment in potentially the whole of their career happens, as Turner is frustrated with all the fellas in the crowd,
To all those fellas out there that were just too cool to wave their arms in the Pretty Visitors chorus, this one's for your girlfriend. Ladies!
the band launches into their first single, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. It's only been 6 years since the single became the first to reach an unseen level of popularity and airtime because of the internet. The British still clearly love it, and the band does so too. Helder starts the drum intro to their song Do Me a Favour, as Alex does the bassist, Nick O'Malley, a favour, with an introduction almost an hour into their gig.
Give it up for Nick O'Malley on the bass guitar, everybody!
This is their fourth song from their 2007 record, Favourite Worst Nightmare, which ties with their debut, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, for the most tracks throughout the night, totaling 6 songs each, over 50% of the 21 songs. Although AM hasn't been released yet, their British audience has become all too familiar with their next song. The lead single, that was released 18 months prior to the album, found a comfortable position as a set closer during the final leg of the Suck It and See tour. Turner, as usual, sets up a joke, in which the intro is the punchline.
Let's just like park all that showmanship shit for a moment and just, just want to tell you I'm yours. The question is, however, are you mine, Glastonbury?
And launches into Are You Mine. The lead single hinted to what would come from the band in the next year and a half during their AM era. Catchy riffs, groovy drum and bass inspired by hip hop, and Turner's signature swagger that was clearly inspired by icons like Elvis Presley and James Dean. He's long since dropped the awkward British teenager act and adorned far too much hair gel and wore his inspirations on his sleeve. The band continued their infatuation with their second record and play Fluorescent Adolescent, which has long since been a British teenager classic, thanks in no part to its inclusion on the show In-Betweeners. Of course, like with every other tune of the night, the crowd are hanging on to Turner's every word. He teases the crowd.
Time for us to go, everybody. Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. We want to leave you with this one, like we always used to in the old days.
The band launches into a classic,
Got a certain romance, folks. Good night.
and the crowd join in with chanting out the opening riff. The bass riff, written by the original bassist, Andy Nicholson, has the same infectious groove as the Strokes' Is This It? After this tour, the song would not make a return for almost 10 years. The closer from their debut record is both an indie rock classic, but also filled with nostalgia of the early 2000s, where local bands would scrap on in local bars. The boys proved they still have their teenage energy, though they have long since passed that era of their lives. Of course, all shows must come to a conclusion. But not just yet. The band come back onto the stage with Turner adorning an acoustic guitar.
Get the acoustic out. I want to get closer to you. This is me method.
Snippeting previous Glastonbury headliners, Soul Love by David Bowie,
So love, he kneels before. I'm only messing. I'm only kidding.
and Yellow by Coldplay.
Look at the stars.
The audience seemed to go with the latter a little too much.
No, I'm only kidding now. Pipe down, pipe down.
Upon landing on a semi-acoustic version of Cornerstone with an orchestra to match.
She was nothing but a vision trick. Oh,
After over an hour of music, Alex finally takes the time to introduce Jamie Cook on guitar.
it's a Jamie Cook on the electric guitar.
He also thanks Guy Garvey for the string arrangements for the night.
Give a round of applause for Mr. Guy Garvey, by the way, who, the Dutchish man in Manchester who did our string arrangements this evening for us.
He taunts the audience.
And while we've got our friends out here, we might try and do an old Monkeys tune. Would you like to hear an old Monkeys tune, everybody?
Upon introducing my favourite version of Marty Bum. The string arrangements make this once snarky song far more emotional than it needs to be. The song climaxes with a stunning conclusion as Turner snippets Oasis' Don't Look Back in Anger. All the audience needs to hear is that iconic B major chord.
So who's that girl there?
The audience trails behind Turner's vocals and they intertwine sporadically.
That's her on the street. She don't do major credit cards. I doubt she does receipts. As I'm not quite legitimate.
After 30 seconds of applause, the band kicks back in.
Yes, he's a scumbag, don't you know?
The letters from their forthcoming record light up, once again showing their love for Elvis, or even the Strokes' iconic $2 bill concert. Turner asked the crowd to
Do me a favour. It's actually my mum's birthday today, and she's here in the crowd with you. Is there any chance you might sing Happy Birthday, Penny, everybody?
He may put on the facade of being a classic 50s American rock star, but he still gets the crowd to sing his mum happy birthday. Alex may be a global rock star, fronting two iconic bands, but his parents are just ordinary school teachers from Sheffield who haven't let it get to them. He closes it with She's a Jolly Good Fellow
Oh, she's a jolly good fellow.
and thanks the crowd.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Rock and roll.
Alex finally admits defeat,
I mean, we've got time for one more tune, Glastonbury, and then we're going to have to bid you good night.
but asks for a little help from a friend.
Miles Kane, ladies and gentlemen.
Just like they did 6 years ago, and they will continue to do so 10 years on, Miles Kane joins the band for their iconic closer. Turner's best friend takes the role of guitarist, so he can fully take over the role of frontman. The band explodes with the climax of the song. Turner and Co. bid farewell to Glastonbury until their return 10 years later.